In the stock market, one bad pick can haunt you forever. Companies go bankrupt, tickers get delisted, and investments hit $0 Game over. But in the TCG world, we have a secret weapon, the floor factor. Whether you are stacking one-piece booster boxes or hunting vintage Pokemon, your assets have a tangible safety net that digital numbers simply don't. While prices fluctuate, the complete evaporation of value is a myth in our hobby. Here is why your cardboard is safer than you think. Unlike volatile crypto coins or penny stocks, TCG products possess inherent physical value. This is the floor. Even if a meta shifts or a hype train derails, the card itself remains a collectible piece of art, a nostalgic token, or a game piece. In the worst-case scenarios for Pokemon or One Piece, values may retract from all-time highs, but they never touch zero. You hold a physical asset that someone somewhere will always want. Paper hands may lose money, but the paper itself retains it. To prove this, let's look at the graveyard of TCGs. Think back to the late 90s and early 2000s, a time when every anime tried to launch a card game. Most failed miserably. Games like Beyblade, Metabots, Zatch Bell, and the Mega Man TCG are long out of print. By all traditional investment metrics, these should be worthless. Yet, a quick search on eBay reveals a secondary market for these dead games. They aren't comparable to the big three, but they still command at least some sales figures because scarcity and nostalgia create a permanent value floor. Now, apply that logic to the juggernaut that is Pokemon. When we look at the norm rather than the exceptions, the safety net becomes even stronger. Even the worst sets are significantly more valuable today than they were at launch. It is incredibly rare to find a card or sealed product that isn't worth more now than it was 10 years ago. Time is the ultimate cement for the floor, hardening the value of your collection. However, recognizing the floor is only half the battle. The other half is your entry price. Simply put, entry price is the exact cost basis at which you acquire an asset. It is the single most critical metric you can control. The distance between your entry price and the floor determines your risk. If you buy a card at its absolute peak, your floor is far away and the fall will hurt. If you buy near the floor, your risk is virtually non-existent. We stress this constantly at TC Journal. The largest factor of your future growth depends on your entry point. If you FOMO into the hottest waifu card or the newest manga rare after it has already pumped 300%, you are exposing yourself to massive downside. You might not go to zero, but you could sit on a 50% loss for years. We preach a defensive collecting strategy. Secure low buy-in prices to limit downside. By protecting your assets first, you ensure that you survive long enough to enjoy the real gains later. Of course, we must address a critical counter-argument. While your product may never hit zero, it can become illiquid. In a cooling market, cash flow slows down. If you and 10,000 other collectors are all holding the exact same elite trainer box and demand vanishes, you might find yourself stuck. The value is technically there, but you cannot extract it without selling at a painful discount. This is why we stress having a long-term mindset. Unlike stocks, cards have utility. You can play the game or enjoy the art. If the market dips, you don't panic sell. You roll with the punches, enjoy the hobby aspect, and wait for the cycle to return. Solvency is easy. Liquidity is the challenge. I know what you are thinking. This advice is frustrating when markets behave like One Piece is right now. You might say, yeah, I would love to buy low, but all boxes are twice MSRP and shelves are empty. This brings us to our first rule of contrarian investing. When the market is scorching hot, it is usually the wrong time to buy. Conversely, when the market is ice cold and no one cares, that is your golden era. It feels counterintuitive to sit on your hands when everyone is buying, but patience is the hallmark of the wealthy collector. Secondly, remember that opportunities are infinite. If one-piece sealed boxes are inaccessible, look elsewhere, like singles. The creative investors are the ones who get rewarded. Perhaps there is an arbitrage opportunity in graded slabs, or maybe a specific unloved set in Pokemon is sitting at a floor price, primed for a breakout. Don't force a bad trade just to be part of the action. Get creative, look for the gaps in the market, and exploit the inefficiencies that the hype beasts are ignoring. Ultimately, we talk about the floor because it is the anchor of a healthy portfolio. While we all love to dream about the ceiling, how high a card can skyrocket, it is equally important to assess what happens if the opposite occurs. Nothing in this market is guaranteed. By understanding the floor and hedging your risk through smart entry prices, you turn gambling into investing. Chase the upside, but respect the downside.